do that over. Angeles Arrien. And the reason Angeles Arrien was a small Basque woman. And ever since Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, she reminded me of her very much. And something Angeles Arrien would do, she was a small little woman, she would rub her hands together, and I've told this story before, and she would say, "Don't move the way fear wants you to. Instead, begin a foolish project. Noah did." And the wisdom that Angeles had, and the wisdom Ruth Bader Ginsburg had, of don't go into fear. You know, Ruth was a warrior, and it was her warriorness that has brought me back to Angeles Arrien, who did a program and wrote a book and taught. She was an anthropologist, author, educator, and she would work with psychology and comparative religions. And when this work was done, she has a PhD, walking the paths of the warrior, teacher, healer, and visionary. It had to do with the Native American wheel. And I do a meditation, and the meditation that I usually do, because many indigenous cultures have different ways of talking about north, south, east, and west. What it represents, what colors are the practice within it. But what Angeles did with her work, in the year-long program I did, ended with going into the wilderness for a vision quest without eating. And we would meet once a week, and I found her on accident. I was at Esalen reading one of her books about age, women and age, and how, in fact, it's a book I want to bring to you. And a woman said, "Oh, Angeles, her offices are at Sausalito." Lo and behold, my art studio at the time, I'm looking out the window, and it was a stone's throw away where her office was, where we would meet and circle once a month. So anyway, here we go. The meditation that I'm going to do is going to go through the medicine wheel. And what she practices, and we would do this through the seasons, and as we're moving into fall and winter, I actually want to carry this into our program that we're doing. The north is the warrior. The west is the teacher. The south is the healer. And the east is the visionary. And as I move through this meditation, I will take you on a journey of how we might visit each one of those. Angeles also talked about spiritualism is the highest form of political consciousness. Spiritualism is the highest form of political consciousness. And basically that word spiritualism is going back to what I said about Mark Nepo, and I'm going to read it again. Where does inner courage live? The two paths that have shaped my work, the inner effort to stand by one's core and the outer effort to face things, keep knitting together. And spiritual work is being authentic and true and in our integrity. And so if our highest form of political consciousness is about holding justice and integrity, as our knit is unknitting, unweaving, we as women, and not just women, but men, I feel, need to come together and find a feminine consciousness and share vulnerability, pain, what we're doing, transforming through art, transforming and healing the planet. We don't do that by keeping things nice and safe like our parents might have done. Okay, so if you could put your feet on the ground and gently close your eyes.
Let me turn off my phone, okay?
Turn off your phones. And we're going to calm the nervous system, and we're going to begin by putting a field of protection around us. Imagine that Merkaba A Merkaba being a four-sided pyramid over this building, over yourselves, and then going down into the earth, another four-sided pyramid and intersecting. So two four-sided pyramids above and one below, one above, one below, intersecting over our bodies. Imagine violet light protecting you like an auric egg. Clockwise, we bring in white light from 2 feet above our heads, down into our bodies, all the way to the core of our belly. And then from the core of the earth, we bring in green healing energy, counterclockwise, intermingling with the white light at the core of our belly. And now we place gold light around us. And I want you to imagine a large circumference of maybe 3 or 4 feet on either side of you, above you, and below you. The circle of life. You are placed in the middle, a mandala of your own making, protected by golden light. And in your mind's eye, as you sit in the middle, imagine you're sitting on a white, grounded pillow. And then, in your solar plexus, below your heart and right above your belly button is a power cord made of gold, like an umbilical cord. And we're going to move through the wheel of life, and in your mind's eye, you will gently get up with your golden cord, and you're going to turn to the left and see a path moving to the east, the place of the rising sun. And see yourself arrive. East is the way of the visionary. Its element is fire. You can imagine the morning sun rising. There to the east, our power is walking meditation. Right placement for ourselves by telling the truth of who we are. The way of healing is through singing and finding our voice and our song, which is a journey in which we can imagine ringing a bell and calling upon animal helpers. And to the east, those animal helpers are no-legged creatures, what we might find in the desert. See if you can call that in now. Here to the east, we find our creative purpose. Our prayer is contemplative through solitude. When we live in this power, we have our intuition of perception, insight, and vision. When we live with the shadow, which is our friend as well, we live in self-abandonment and projection. Here we get to contemplate this. Here we get to return again and again and ring the bells. And find our power songs. And now we thank the East, and we turn our direction with our golden cord towards the South. Here in the South is the inner healer. Here is right speech by paying attention. It's where spring lives. And in spring, we can find our healing through drumming, repetitive action, accessing self-love. We may return here laying down in meditation. Perhaps you imagine a soft meadow in the springtime. Self-healing. Now we thank the South and move towards the West. The West is the season of fall. The element is water. Here we can call upon water creatures. Perhaps there's an ally here today for you. Just take a moment to breathe that in. In the West is the inner teacher. Wisdom lives here. Sitting meditation lives here. Right timing and being open to outcome. Our healing solve is silence. The playing instruments are sticks and bones. We're all teachers. We're all being called on this planet now to access our inner teacher more than ever. One way to do that is to practice being comfortable with uncertainty. We can call upon our ancestor spirits here and learn to discern. Our shadow here, our friends, are judgment, control, and confusion. And the more we sit in silence, the more we can access our discernment. We thank the West and we move up towards the North. The North holds deep knowledge. Its winter. Its element is air. And Here is the warrior. Our inner warrior can be accessed by calling upon winged creatures. You may call upon that ally now and see if anyone shows up. The meditation of the warrior is standing. The warrior uses the rhythm of stillness to integrate the power of presence. The healing salve of the north and the warrior is dance. We can use the rattle to break any energy that needs to be dissipated. Our friend and ally shadow work of the north of the warrior is rebellion. Rebellion of authority issues and patterns of invisibility, how we hide and not come into our power of presence. We're being asked now, especially in the winter, to call upon our inner warrior and show up for ourselves. Claiming boundaries through discipline. Now take a moment to thank the north. And with your golden cord, return to the east, where we started, and then back to the center of the circumcent of the middle of the circle. Sitting back down gently on your white pillow. Bringing your attention to your heart. And right there in your heart is an ember, a warm ember that turns into a lotus flower. Whatever that looks like, or feels like, or smells like, or tastes like. In the middle of your heart, a glowing ember lotus flower. Just sit still with that for a moment, imagining it permeating out into your auric field. As you breathe in and breathe out, we can remember and access at any time the healer within in the south, the warrior without in the north, the visionary in the east. And the teacher in the west. You're in a protective space within your circle of your own making, your own power, your own medicine. And when you're ready, gently bring your awareness to your fingers or your toes. Gently bat your eyes open. And find 3 things in the room to bring yourself into present time.